Good evening, boxing fans, and welcome back. Am I the only one who thought that Canelo's responses seemed totally pre-rehearsed when he was questioned about the prospects of facing Gennady Golovkin?
Does that mean that you will fight Triple G later this year?
Como lo dije en la pelea pasada, ahorita mismo me vuelvo a poner los guantes.
As I said in the last fight, right now I'll put on the gloves again.
Gracias a toda la gente. ¡Viva México!
This is Rummy's Corner. So regarding the fight this past weekend between Canelo and Khan, I think we got the type of outcome we were all expecting, but the way that we got there, I definitely think that was different than what people were thinking it would be like going in. And I know, at least for me personally, I thought the fight was far more interesting than I was expecting, so I was pleasantly surprised on that front. And right from the onset, Amir Khan set the pace of this fight. He showed off his tremendous advantage in hand speed. He was firing off fast combinations. Canelo looked slow and confused, and Khan was doing a good job with his feet and his positioning. He was doing a good job controlling the range early, where he could get close enough to fire his combinations, but he'd be well out of the way before the counterfire came in. So Khan did a good job with that, and I think that there are definite improvements in Amir Khan's game that we can see since he teamed up with Virgil Hunter. Khan looked magnificent through 3. In the 4th round, I think Canelo started making subtle adjustments where he was able to stop Khan from controlling the distance as well. I think Khan might have been getting a little tired at this point. He was always kind of a hot and cold, streaky kind of fighter, but in the 5th round, Canelo had obviously transitioned and there was a big shift in momentum, and Khan wasn't able to have the type of success he was in the early rounds, mainly because of the adjustments Canelo made, where he tightened up his punches a little bit and he made sure he was much closer to Khan when he was returning fire. This put Khan in Canelo's punching range, and instead of missing badly like he was earlier in the fight, Canelo started finding the mark more often. And then of course in the 6th round, the super dramatic knockout, which as you can see here, it was a terrifically timed punch by Canelo. Khan never saw it coming. It was probably the hardest punch Khan's ever been hit with in his life. And Khan went down, and luckily he wasn't too badly hurt, because it was one of those scary knockdowns where you never know and you never want to see anybody get badly hurt. In any case, despite things being a little more difficult for Canelo than I think people were expecting, he got a sensational knockout in the end. And of course the conversation then inevitably turned towards ringside observer Gennady Golovkin. Now Canelo is kind of setting up a situation where I don't think he can make 155 that much longer. I thought he looked bad at the weigh-in. I thought he looked really drained to the point where I thought he looked worse at 155 for the Khan fight than he did at 151 or whatever it was when he faced Floyd Mayweather Jr. I thought he looked worse in this way in myself, but I don't think he wants to face Gennady Golovkin. I think that he will do what he could to steer around that fight still, but it's getting to the point where he really ought to fight him, or I don't know where he's going to go from here. I mean, if he could land one of the big money fights, that being a fight with Manny Pacquiao, a rematch with Miguel Cotto, or a rematch with retired pound-for-pound king Floyd Mayweather Jr., I mean, if he can get one of those fights, I think he's definitely going to take it, and I would imagine that he'd probably still get the blessing of the WBC. But if he can't get one of those 3, I'm not really sure where he goes. And in any case, this is what he said in the post-fight interview with Max Kellerman. And as you can see, De La Hoya is fiendishly smiling behind him. But these were Canelo's own words after the fight.
There's a guy ringside watching this fight tonight who comes to attack Triple G.
Yo lo invité a que subiera.
I invited him to come to the ring.
You invited him to the ring? Why?
Yo lo invité a que subiera. Como decimos en México, hay que dejarnos de mamadas. No hay que... Los cinturones aquí se hacen a un lado. Hay que pelear por honor y por gloria nada más.
I invite him into the ring, and like we say in Mexico, we don't fuck around. We don't fight for rings and stuff like that. I don't fear anyone.
En este deporte no se viene a jugar y no le tengo miedo a nadie.
We don't come to play in this sport. I fear no one in this sport.
Does that mean that you will fight Triple G later this year?
Como lo dije en la pelea pasada, ahorita mismo me vuelvo a poner los guantes.
As I said in the last fight, right now I'll put on the gloves again.
Gracias a toda la gente. ¡Viva México!
So, Canelo is kind of setting himself up in a corner here. I mean, I also thought it was funny after that, in Amir Khan's interview after the fight, he interjected himself into the Canelo Golovkin discussion when he said this.
I'm one of them fighters, I'll step in the ring with whoever, and I think it's time now where Canelo needs to step in with Triple G because everyone's been waiting for that fight. So I showed my balls by getting in the ring with a big guy. But look, I mean, this is boxing.
And then to top that off in an even more ironic twist, Virgil Hunter joined in the interview and he shared his 2 cents when he also called for Canelo to face Golovkin.
He took the risk. He gave up everything. No concessions. Now it's time for him to take the risk and quit hiding behind little stuff, okay? Amir took the risk.
Why is it important for you guys that Canelo takes that risk against Triple G? It seems personal.
Because he set the tone. Amir set the tone. Fighters should fight each other. We're setting the tone. He took the risk. He did it. He got to quit hiding behind the flag and fight Triple G.
And I find the whole Virgil Hunter angle to be especially amusing because of the whole history between his prized fighter Andre Ward and Gennady Golovkin, where they didn't come to an agreement on a fight that I personally wish would have came together. But the fact that Hunter's calling for Canelo to fight Golovkin, I think the pressure's starting to mount, and if he can't land Pacquiao, Mayweather, Cotto, I mean, there are other guys out there, but I think he really has to start looking at Golovkin's direction, and the bottom line is this. Triple G deserves the shot at this point. The fight should be made, or Canelo should be stripped, but I don't know if I believe either one of those things are going to happen. I'm not sure that Canelo actually really wants to fight Golovkin, and I'm also not sure if the WBC is really inclined to enforce their word. But the bottom line is Gennady deserves the shot. Will he get it? Will it happen this year for Mexican Independence Weekend in September? I have no idea. But I think it's time that the fight should happen. And the days of middleweight catchweight fights and welterweights being dragged up to fight for middleweight title fights, I hope they're gone. This is Rumsfeld. Thank you for tuning in. Please stay tuned for more episodes in the future. Thank you.